It was supposed to be a routine layover, just a few hours at Denver International Airport before my connecting flight. I settled near one of the massive murals, those strange, haunting ones with apocalyptic imagery, hoping to catch some sleep before the red-eye. But as the minutes dragged on, something felt off. The air seemed heavier. My skin prickled, and a cold sweat began to bead on the back of my neck. I glanced around. The airport was oddly deserted for a place that never sleeps. The usual white noise of an airport was absent. No intercom announcements, no chattering crowds, no rolling luggage. Just a thick, unnatural silence. Then I noticed it, the mural. The colors seemed wrong, darker somehow. The once vibrant greens and blues had become murky, almost as if they were being swallowed by the shadows creeping from the corners of the room. I told myself it was a trick of the light, but my body knew better. Something was watching me. A soft, rhythmic tapping echoed from the far end of the terminal. It wasn't footsteps, not quite. It was sharper, more deliberate, like the click of claws against tile. I froze, listening as the sound grew louder, nearer. My breath caught in my throat. I didn't dare turn around. Instead, I stared straight ahead at the mural, hoping, praying that whatever was behind me would pass by. But it didn't. I told myself it was a trick of the light, but my body knew better. Something was watching me. The tapping stopped, and I could feel it. Something just beyond my peripheral vision, hovering at the edge of the dim light. Slowly, ever so slowly, I turned my head, and there it was. Tall, impossibly tall, with limbs too long for its body. Its face, or what should have been its face, was a smooth, featureless plane of pale skin, except for its eyes. Red, glowing like embers, they burned holes into me. I wanted to scream, to run, but I was frozen in place. It cocked its head, as if studying me, and then, without a sound, it glided backward into the shadows. Gone, but not forgotten. I knew it was still there, waiting. Trying to shake off the encounter, I stood and walked through the terminal, seeking the comfort of other travelers or staff. But there was no one. The further I went, the more the airport began to change. The walls seemed to close in, the ceiling lowering with every step. The once open spaces felt claustrophobic, the lights dimming until they flickered, barely illuminating the narrow, winding hallways. And then, as if on cue, the hum began, a low, deep vibration beneath my feet, rattling through the floor. It wasn't the sound of machinery, at least not any machinery I'd ever heard. This was deeper, more resonant, like something vast and alive moving beneath the airport. I stumbled forward, desperate to get out. As I rounded a corner, the floor beneath me seemed to sink. It was subtle at first, but with each step it felt like I was walking deeper into something unseen. The walls were lined with strange symbols, angular, jagged shapes that reminded me of old occult markings, some of them resembling the Masonic symbols I'd seen on the airport's dedication plaque. They pulsed, faintly glowing as I passed by, like they were feeding off the energy of the place, or me. That's when I saw it again. Blucifer. The blue Mustang statue, standing just beyond the glass, its eyes burning brighter than ever. But this time it was more than just a statue. The air around it seemed to ripple, distorting like heat waves rising from asphalt, and then it moved. Slowly at first, its head lowering, nostrils flaring as if it were alive. My heart hammered against my ribs as I backed away. but there was nowhere to go. A loud creak broke the silence, metal straining under pressure. I whipped around to see one of the service doors at the far end of the hall swinging open, a gust of cold, stale air rushing out from the darkness beyond. Against my better judgment, I stepped toward it. The whispers started then, low and garbled, like multiple voices talking over each other in a language I couldn't understand. They seemed to be coming from below. My legs felt like lead, but I forced myself to peer inside the doorway. A narrow staircase spiraled downward into darkness, the whispers growing louder with every step. I descended, each footfall echoing in the abyss. The air was thick, metallic, like blood and rust. When I reached the bottom, I found myself in a cavernous room, filled with rows of metal cots. The walls were lined with old, rusted equipment, monitors, control panels, all long dead. This was no ordinary basement. In the center of the room was something far more disturbing. A massive stone altar, slick with some dark, oily substance. Around it stood figures cloaked in shadows, their heads bowed in silent prayer. I couldn't make out their faces, but I could feel their eyes on me. Those same burning red eyes that had followed me all night. And then, without warning, they stopped. The whispers ceased. The figures raised their heads in unison, their faces inhuman, twisted, fixated on me. The room grew colder, and my breath crystallized in front of me. I could hear the deep rumbling again, but this time, it wasn't coming from beneath the floor. It was coming from them. One of the figures stepped forward, reaching out with an impossibly long hand. Its skin was waxy, stretched tight over its bones. The fingers were tipped with sharp, black nails, clicking together as it advanced. I couldn't move. My limbs felt as if they were filled with cement. My mind screaming at me to run, but my body refusing to obey. As it touched my arm, an icy jolt shot through me, paralyzing every nerve. The last thing I remember was its mouth stretching open, revealing rows of needle-sharp teeth, impossibly wide, like a black maw, ready to consume me whole. And then, everything went black. When I woke, I was back in the terminal, lying on one of the benches. The morning sun streamed through the glass walls. People bustled around me, and everything seemed normal. Except it wasn't. My arm throbbed where the creature had touched me, a deep, bruised, black mark etched into my skin. I never told anyone about what happened that night, but I can still feel it, like the airport has marked me, like whatever lurks beneath Denver International isn't done with me yet. Every time I close my eyes, I see them, the creatures in the dark, the burning red eyes, and the whispers, always just at the edge of hearing. They're waiting for me to come back. And next time, I don't think I'll be so lucky. Thanks for watching Eerie Tales. If you enjoyed this journey into the macabre, smash that like button and share it with your fellow horror enthusiasts. Drop a comment with your thoughts and let us know what scares you the most. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more spine-tingling content. Until next time, stay brave, stay curious, and remember, the darkness is always closer than you think.